Civil Product Manager here at CTC. Today we're going to be talking about template management, part of our SIM Management Manager suite of tools. If you have any questions, go ahead and type them in the question box there, and if we can get to them while we're running here, I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. Otherwise, we'll get to them at the end. So today we're talking about specifically Layer Boss and how it relates to our template management. So like I said, it's one of the tools in our SIM Manager suite. It's mainly intended for CAD managers or Civil 3D users supporting a production team. It will work in the last 4 versions of Civil 3D back to 2019. We are going to have an update here shortly for Civil 3D 2024, and we will be dropping the support for version 2019. So why Layer Boss? Well, from my experience, we know that drawing templates can be inconsistent, and consistency makes for more productive users and more consistent drawings. And updating the templates can sometimes be confusing. We don't know exactly what layers are there. Maybe we can't keep track of them. Things have gotten out of hand. Layer Boss can help with all of that. And doing it in Layer Manager fixing your layers is tedious, line by line, lots of clicking. We have some of the same functionality for object layers. Everything in Civil 3D is tied to an object, and we sometimes need to change those, update those, what have you. And we have Layer Boss that can help us do that. So again, why Layer Boss here? It's smart exports into user-friendly spreadsheet format. We use Excel, and we can track our changes before applying them, which we'll get into. So we can change some layers, some objects, we can bring them back in, and we can actually see what's being done. And if we don't like what we see, we can change it right on the fly. And that helps us to resolve potential issues prior to implementation or promotion. And also we can save those base files, I call them, our Excel formatting, to be used if things change. Simply open them up, make your changes, re-import them. And we can use it to track potential issues. So we can compare it against existing drawings and update those to our new standards. Or if you have, say, client drawings that came in, they have different layers, you can export them, compare them, change them, and get them to your standards, and vice versa. So we can easily maintain consistent drawing templates in our projects. So with that, let's jump into Civil 3D and see how it works. Okay, here I have some drawing templates, and we can work right in the template. We don't have to do this in a drawing and then save it out as a template. We can just open our templates and start working in our templates, save them as our templates, and they're ready to use. So here I've got, on the top here, I've got one of our just regular design templates. Here I've got a plain AutoCAD out of the box, and here's the Civil 3D Imperial National CAD standard drawing template, if that's what you want to use if you're at a jumping off point. Maybe even you just want to clean up what you have and use that as a starting point too. So how do we do it natively, right? Come in here, so object layers, let's start with our object layers. So we have to go here. We've got our object layers, and if we want to change one of these, if we wanted to change this to a different layer, say C-road alignments instead of just C-road, well, you got to click here, and we don't have that layer. We want to change that layer. So now we have to go here, and we have all of this where you enter your layer name, color, anything you want to do to it right here in this format box, which works fine, I guess, if you're doing them, you know, maybe just a couple at a time. But if you're trying to maintain things and do them as a mass and compare things, you know, you got to do it every single time. So if I wanted to put this on a layer, the building sites on a layer, catchments on a layer, you know, I'd have to do that every single time. Well, kind of time consuming, and our whole goal with our tools is to save time. And conversely, the same thing in layers. So we can copy, but again, one at a time, adding layers, new layer. Do we want to rename the layer? What do we want to do? One at a time. Plow through everything over here, line types, everything. Again, time consuming, and who has that kind of time to do that? So let's start with our object layers here. Let's go ahead and open. The first thing you would want to do is export your layers. So here's what the UI looks like. We have our options here, and that's the size and position is all this is. So if I take and make this into a more manageable size for this UI, which really doesn't do that much, and then I close it, and if I reopen it again, we'll see it's back to a good size. I don't know why that's not closing. There it goes. So let's open it and let's export. So in here within we have our options. I just showed you that. Also we have over here, we have the pull down with some things, help, videos, report a bug if something doesn't work for you right, you can report it right here. You can also request features. We really like to hear feedback from our users, and we use that to update our tools and let us know if there's something you want. So we can come here and we could go grab a drawing from somewhere else if we wanted to, if we had an existing drawing as a jumping off point, or we can just come with the current. So we're kind of building from scratch here, so I'll just start with this out of the box one, and we can just export it. You can see I've made a couple already. I'm just going to leave it at Civil 3D object layers. You know what I'm going to call it? I'm not. So it's just object layers. And I'm just going to say save here, and it gives us the option to open it right away. Most cases we probably would. So we're in here. Here's what this looks like. So it's smart. I don't know if I mentioned that or not, in that we can get at things here, modifiers. We can do pretty much everything that is in the normal ambient settings dialog box, which I showed you before, but we can do multiples here. We don't have to click through one like we did before. So we can edit these things. So we talked about maybe we wanted to change that to C-road align. So let's just change that real quick. How about GN? So C-road align. And let's say I was in the wrong box here and I accidentally added something. Or I thought maybe I wanted to change it to alignments. Being it's a Civil 3D object, we can't do that. So I'm just going to show you what happens if you should make a mistake along the way here. So we've changed that, and I'm just going to save this. We'll just do the one real quick here, and then we'll do a few more to kind of show you. So save it, close that. And right here now, we want to go browse to and get that file to put it in here. So again, I'm just working in a blank template drawing, a DWT. So we can browse out here and we grab our new exported and updated. And we have right here where we can create new layers, or we can just import it as it is. I'll kind of show you both of those in a little bit here. So right away we open it up and we get this dialog box, this interface that tells us what's happening, what's going to happen. Well, this one flags as red right away because we can't change that one. We get a warning right here, and we can't even load it at this point. But you can see our layer did change. So even if I say okay here, it's not going to let me do it. We get this warning right here that something is amiss. And we know what it is because it's red, and that's the only one as we scroll here that is out of place. So we just simply go back and reopen our exported object layers again. Okay, we know we need to fix this, so let's fix that. We'll just leave the rest as it is. Save, close, and we don't have to leave the main dialog box here. We can just tell it to reload from here. It fixed that, and now it says we're going to make, right here it says it does not exist. It will create a new layer. What if I check this off? What would happen? Well, same thing. So if I made a different change here, we would see that it was a new layer, but keeping the old layer. I'll show you that when we get to the layers box. But so we say okay right here, and we've updated it. We can go back here and check to be sure, and there, it's fixed right there. So let's show you how you can do multiples of these real fast. So let's open that thing back up, the Excel folder back up, file. Where'd you go? Okay, let's change a few more here. Let's say, I don't know, just pick out a couple here. Alignment. What else do we have? Let's change, I don't know, parcel. Let's call it P prop line. Oops. Let's call that C property line. Scroll down here, what else do we have? Survey figure labeling. Well, that doesn't even have a layer associated, it's on 0, so we probably want to make a layer in this case. Call it V serve figure. See what else? Labels, how about, probably don't want those coming on layer 0 either. So let's call that V survey label. Let's try that. I think that's enough to show what we wanted to do here. We could change these if we wanted to. Yes, no, we've got this handy little pull down, no typing, modifiers. Do we want modifiers in there? You know, maybe we do for this. Maybe we want a suffix on that one. Maybe we want a underscore star to take the alignment name when we make it. So those are a couple of changes that we did. Here's a building site. We're working more on civil stuff here too, but maybe we want to do we want these on label layer. So maybe we want that on a storm. Let's make that C storm. Let's call it text. Actually, let's call it label to stay consistent. So label, okay. Let's close it, and let's go re-import those. Browse back out. Okay, next. So here's our changes. And here in green, it's going to tell you what is it updating. So we updated these things. We updated this. We're making a new layer here. It doesn't exist. So we're going to create that one. And here we're updating. So these layers exist in the drawing. Okay, this one does not. So it's going to make a new layer right there. So I'm going to say okay. And let's go over here and see what happened with our layers. So here's our figure. Those are there. But the C storm label wasn't a layer before. Where are you? Well, I don't see it. I don't want to waste time trying to hunt it down. You can see the difficulties in doing that. So that's kind of what the object ones do. Now we can do also the layering, which is probably more along the lines of what everyday users would be doing out there. And it's the same basic process, but a little different interface. So we'll do the same thing here, but we'll do with export and drawing layers. Okay, so here we have a little different looking UI, still the same position stuff here, the same everything here, all the same. We'll have help videos here, which this one today will show up there if you need to reference it along with several others that we have out there. If we want to grab some more drawings, we can do that. We can certainly browse to them and grab them. We can do this by layer, by filters. We'll do that in a second here. I'm just going to take everything as it is right now. So if you were just doing specific updates to layers, maybe just your C roads in this case, you could do that. Can include any line file, LIN file that you have access to, which there's a whole bunch of them here. So if I click that and I export to X, I'm just going to do a full blown here to kind of show you. If you had special line types you were going to use, you could just include that. You don't have to include all of them. So let's go here, and I'm just going to leave that the layers property manager as the default. Export it and open it, just like we did before. So here's the background colors. Some of these kind of make the text a little hard to see, but if you're using specialty colors, it really comes in handy, like these numbers, to know what these numbers are, because you might not have that memorized in your head of what the true value or whatever the extra colors are other than the initial 7. So then line types too, we can open this up, and then we have access to every line type that we just loaded. which in this case is a lot, you may or may not want to pick through that. Some of these types that are AutoCAD defaults might be handy to have, but that's what that checkbox did. It loaded everything out, and you can see it came with descriptions. It's ready to go. So I'm just going to close it because I'm going to get some of these line types and stuff out of here. So now I'm going to uncheck that and uncheck that, and I'm just going to re-export it. I'm going to go ahead and just overwrite that one. Yes, and open. Okay, so now we're back. No colors. Our line types have significantly been pared down to whatever's in the drawing, just in the drawing only. So that's what we have there. So it would go through the same process to change a few of these. So here we have, for instance, let's do the C anal. So maybe I want that to now be C text. And this is case sensitive. What you see is what you get. So this is going to make a new layer. What this does is this will make a new layer, but leave this one. If I changed it over here, it would do the same thing. It would make that layer C text, but we would lose C anal in case you wanted to keep that around for some reason. So let's do that one there. What else should we change? Oh, we can do these things a lot at a time. So I'm going to change this back to C. We want to make them all labels to be consistent with what we did in the object layers. So I'm going to change the C label instead. And we have all these other ones that have text. But maybe we want them to be layer instead. So C property line label, not text. Maybe we want it to be label because we really label things. So it's a typical Excel where I can do a find and replace. So I can come in here and I can say find what, or say find hyphen texts, and we'll replace them with label. And let's see we'll just go through a couple of these. So it's finding all of these right here. So let's say find all. So it found a lot, 28 cases it's found. Well, that would take quite a while to do in your layering, but if I just replace them all, it's that quick. Being Excel based, it's just that easy. So what if we wanted to change some of these, like a building, and we want it to be hidden instead? We'll get that. I don't know, I'm not going to change too many more. I think you see how that works. We can change all those, and we say save and close. And close this, and now we come to import, create, edit. So we're importing them, promoting them, whatever you want to call it. So I'm coming here and I'm going to grab my layers property. And so now we have sync and add, two slightly different functions. Say next right here, and we'll get this dialog box that tells us everything that's going to happen here. And we have a problem here. So we'll have to find what our problem is. So it won't even let us do this right now. Let me go back, see what happens if I do sync. So we have a problem. We've got to find the problem. So we've got duplicate layers here. So we already had those. We've got to get rid of those. So we have to open up Excel again. Here's what the problem is. We've got the duplicates. That's no good. So we'll open up Excel again. Oops, I need to do that one. So we'll open up the layers manager again. And let's scroll to find, all right, to find those layers. So C road label, we got to get rid of that. Goes right here. Let's delete that one out of there. Prof label, gotta get rid of that one. See profile layer, get rid of that one. Road section label. Oops. Road section label. Right there. And looks like road label we also need to get rid of. You don't see it. Why don't I see it? Maybe it's taken care of. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Do a save. And just reload that. Okay, it went away. It must have been in something else. So now we're good. It says what we can have, what we can't have, but it says okay to apply it to the drawing. But we've got some here that are attached to. So here's that new layer I was talking about. It's keeping the old one. It's making a new one. Let's just go back to the top here. So we're making all these other new layers here, all these LBL label layers. So because we changed them in the left-hand panel, it's going to change them. These are going to be completely new. We're going to get rid of the other ones. Updated those. Have all these unchanged ones. Deleted ones. So it's deleting these. Oops. It's deleting these text because it's changing them. And then we've got these cannot delete ones. Well, these cannot delete it because they're used in a style somewhere. So how could we fix that? Well, we can do it right here on the fly. And we've got this little ellipse button right here that will access another manager tool, template tracker. So it automatically throws you right to that layer. And it's telling me that it's being used in all of these. So in one object layer, in the parcel layer, and all of these styles. So right here, I could take and select them all, and I could swap them for P prop. I think probably have a P prop label. Somewhere. Again, I'm not gonna hunt it down, but we could change it to that if we wanted to. I'm just gonna put it on that, right there in that box for right now, to show you it's there. And now I can delete that out of there. So now that one is gone, we fixed that. Everything that was associated with it is now going to go to that layer within the style. And we say, okay. And what did we end up with here? So in our style manager now, we've got all of our new styles are in there. And we've got our updated style. Should be a C text in there. Again, I know it's there because we changed it. If I exported them, you'd see it. So that's pretty much what it does there. We talked about how we can promote or update existing drawings to new standards when they're created. So here's an old survey that was done, who knows, years ago. Things have changed. Maybe it's done by somebody else. We want things on different layers. So how do we fix that? Well, we do the same thing. We just come here, and I've already created a new surveys layer manager for new survey layers. I'm going to say add to drawing here. Let's say next. So here, right here, it's making, here's a completely new one. Here's another new one, v-text, things that have changed. Some descriptions we're getting added in there. And let me pull this off of view for you, and I'm going to say okay. And you're going to see these colors and things are going to update very quickly here. So you saw how that fixed, and now everything has changed. It's good to go. We can do the same thing for another old existing survey. And I'll just go through it one more time quickly to show you. You know what, here, I'm going to do the update real quick. I'm going to show you what happens if you're doing the updates for object layers. We'll see all of the errors and stuff that are coming in right here. So I'm going to grab this right out of Civil 3D just to show you what would happen. I'll click create new again. So now we're going to get all of these layers are going to be new layers. Okay. Layer does not exist, will be created. So if we had something that bad, I guess that's what would happen. So I can just say okay here, and that's what will happen. Now it might or might not match the survey layers, but you can do this in 2 steps here pretty easily. And again, this is all saving a lot of time over native edits. Get this to slide back in here. There we go. So we'll just go grab those survey layers again, and just to show one more time real quick how this works. I'm going to say sync this time. I'm going to say next. Here's all the things that are changing again. Unchanged. So these were consistent from drawing to drawing. It's going to delete this many, so we don't need them. It's going to get rid of them. They don't match. And oops, I've got an error again. So I cannot delete these layers. And I should be able to just say ignore here. For some reason that won't collapse. Okay, here's a problem. Right here is our problem. Oops, I had that one. So I'd have to go resolve that in the Excel file. I'm not gonna take the time. I think I've shown you. This thing isn't opening the way it should right now, so that's really all I wanted to show you right there, and you can't screw anything up too badly because it won't let you. So with that, that's really all I had to show you today. I appreciate you stopping by, trying to keep these things down to a minimum. So again, what is it? In conclusion, it is part of our CTC Civil Manager Suite. We also have our project suite of tools. They're two separate things. If you want to learn more about it, go to ctcsoftware.com. And if you have a local reseller, contact them and see them about adding it to your subscription, whatever you have. And if you have any ideas or need help with anything, feel free to contact support and we'll take care of you the best we can. Okay. With that, I'm going to end the webinar and hope to see you at the next one. Thank you.